Hi there, people. How are you doing? This is a badge match between myself and Julian Damien. Julian is a newer player. As I always play the newer players, you know. Newer players tend to like play me more. They want to get better because, you know, they know I commentate and analyze, and also because I'm more available. But yes, Julian is a newer player. And he's not half bad. I say that about a lot of new players because a lot of new players are not half bad. A lot of new players are really good, as I've been saying in all my videos. But Julian has some room of improvement. And it's not because, you know, he plays bad. Sometimes it's just because my strat makes people play a little bit worse than they would. Like, if it'd be better if I was still farming and I would, you know, I would have farmed while he would farm, and then we would see what he would do wrong with the farming. But because how I use my strategy, it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to deal with, so people tend to not know how to deal. But right now, Julian is doing pretty well with defending the blues and the pinks. And I think he sold his farm by accident right there because of the update. That's prone to happen to anybody, so that's not anything he's doing wrong. What else? So he's sending pinks. He's trying his best to make me leak, which is a good thing. But he should also know that sending individual pinks isn't enough. It's best to layer pinks. Like, send some blues, then send some pinks, then send some greens, send some pinks. It's best to layer pinks. You can't just not send pinks. I mean, you can't just send pinks because people can defend pinks by itself pretty well on offside. It's best, you know, because it's when you get the pinks in bulk that the Dart Monkey's darts don't pierce all the balloons and the pinks sneak by. Now at this point, I'm using reds to build up some eco so I don't die to rounds 10, 11, or 12, or 13. And Julian is building a catapult. His farming isn't the best, but that's because he's been so worried about defense right now. The thing I like about Julian is that he challenges everybody. He constantly plays people new. I mean, he plays the newer people a lot because he wants to get better in his range. But he plays me a little too. If I answer him when he asks for badge, he plays me too. So he's not afraid to play the bigger, higher level people. And he holds his own. I'll say that much. He does hold his own against us. It's not like he's losing tragically to everybody. Like he lasts pretty long. He doesn't lose to any rushes, any stupid rushes I might send him. Now, I guess I don't know what he was doing there, but I guess he was trying to see if he can get zero rush past my ace. Or maybe he was, let's see what he does. Oh yes, I see what he did. He uses battle energy to make me use my battle energy. Then he re-rushed me with leads to make me, you know, since I don't have the battle energy, well, I got it back, but since I didn't have battle energy, with that kind of strategy, it's pretty smart on his part. It is pretty smart, but with that kind of strategy, it's best to just use the blooms you have at that time, because he waited till round 15 to use the leads, but him waiting for round 15 also let me get my battle energy back. But it was a pretty good strategy, I will say that much. It wasn't half bad. It was a good line of thinking, so he was smart with that one. I think if I didn't have my battle energy, I probably would have lost. Most likely. Not most likely, but it was a good chance. So he's now going eco. I think he's trying to figure out how to combat my strategy. But he's actually trying to, I think, copy my strategy a bit. But he's now going eco with 2 farms. I think I'm ahead of eco by a lot at this point. I have my ODS, or my Operation Darkstorm, so not many blooms are getting past. And I have pretty good eco by round 20, so I knew I was going to get a pretty good farm base by round 20, 26, 27. That's when I usually like to build up my farms. He sold his farm there. I guess he's trying to go strictly eco now. But in my opinion, he should have, if he was going to do my strategy, he should have did it from the start. But when you're farming, you just got to keep farming. Otherwise, you'll just, like, switching eco mid-game only works if you have a specific strat for it, like I do. Like, I get enough eco to be able to switch mid-game with little consequences. But he started switching mid-game. I mean, he started going eco, like, at the round 15, I think, after he went for that lead rush. I think that's when he started going eco. And it just didn't work out that well. And right there, he lost a life. I guess his round awareness was a bit, well, I'm pretty sure he knew that round 22 was coming up, but he has to know that round 22 requires a bit more than just, he has chipper. He should have had 2 chippers out front. 2 chippers out front would have stopped round 22 really easily. Instead, he built more jugs, which could stop round 22 also, but chipper would stop round 22 almost always. Like 2 chippers out front and your round 22 is not a problem. Since he is a chipper user, he might as well use them well. Alright, so at this point, I am way ahead of him in eco. It's like I have my 3rd tier farm. I have enough to get another 3rd tier farm. I have my 4th tier farm. I have enough to get 2 3rd tier farms and be able to switch. So by round 26, I'll have 2 4th tier farms. What he's doing over there is kind of weird. I feel like he could have afforded 2 4th tier farms by around 25 also. I mean, not 4th tier. 1 4th tier farm by around 22 also. 25. Ugh, can't talk. I feel like he could have afforded 1 4th tier farm by around 25 also, but he's farming a little bit differently. I don't know exactly what he's doing. But in my opinion, he should just be, alright, so he's doing that. It's not too bad. I won't say he's with me in farming, but I think I'm a little ahead of him. I'm definitely ahead of him now. But I think I'm definitely ahead of him now. But I think he could have farmed a little bit better. I'm not sure if he was worrying about defense or if he was worrying about me rushing, but his farming kind of suffered. And he's not using his chipper well. Like, he's not using chipper to the best of his ability, which isn't good at all. I lose some lives there because I guess I just didn't really care because I was up by so many lives it didn't really matter. He also has Ninja, so he has a pretty good team on his side. I also have Chipper and Ninja too, but whenever I get Chipper Ace, I don't use Chipper. I just try to stick with Ace because I know I can defend with Ace. I don't need to use Chipper. At this point, I'm trying to get 5. I got 5 4th tier farms, and now I'm about to start rushing. Once you get 5 4th tier farms, you get, I think it's 2250, 22 grand, over 22 grand a round. And once you get 22 grand a round, you can just send infinite Zoma Gods. Like, you can send them one after the other. And I also started to get Spectre, sold all my Juggernauts, because once you get Spectre, Juggernauts don't really matter. I thought that was a bad spot, so I switched them up. Yeah, but once you get Spectre, you can sell your Jugs, because that just does not matter. And he dies to naturals on round 32, which isn't surprising, because naturals on round 32 are actually pretty hard to deal with. So we moved to Patch, and Patch has become an increasing favorite inside Mobile King of the Hill. It's one of my favorites, definitely. He played Patch a bit better, and I think he used my strat from the start. Him using my strat isn't really. I'm not that upset about it, but I feel like people are going to start using my strat more and more because they'll see how good it is. Because my strat really it mixes both ecos, and also it allows you to rush late game heavy. Like, most people, when they just do strict farming versus an eco player, they can probably get about 2 4th tier farms by round 24, but that's when they start rushing. And most people who go eco against maybe a farmer, they'll try their best not to lose lives and just defend late game. Like, those are pretty good strat, but with my strat, I can make sure I can get good enough money eco to build farms, while if I lose lives, I can rush late game. So I have like the best of both worlds. I can defend and rush late game at the same time. Because there's no point, like I said, I think I said this before, there's no point in sending Zoma Gods before round 30. Because everybody picks Ace now. And if you send a Zoma God before round 30, when somebody's using Ace, it's just a waste of money. So I only send Zoma Gods at the round 30. And then I send them heavy. I send them really, really heavy. Like I seen in some Flash, I watched a lot of Flash King of Hill videos, mostly the ones with Mo, and I've seen in Flash King of Hill that infinite Zoma Gods are pretty hard to defend on there. Like when people get enough eco to send infinite Zoma Gods, you know, people tend to use Mortar Stall to make sure, you know, they don't lose lives. Even then, like if the game didn't end on round 40, I'm pretty sure the infinite Zoma Gods would kill him. So I know that infinite Zoma Gods are really hard to stop, and only way to truly stop them is if you have Ninja Ace or if you have Chipper. If you have enough money to buy Chippers. But to stop Infinite Zoma God, you need either Ninja Ace or Chipper. And about 80 grand. So he's up in lives. And I sent him Yellow Rush because I think I was trying to get up in lives. I think I was doing my Red Rush also. But he kind of modified. He's not doing my strat exactly. But he's not doing it exactly, but he's also been kind of a little aggressive. Even though he's up in lives, I think before I developed my strat to be, you know, I only be aggressive when I'm trying to. I only do eco after I get lives. Once I get lives, I start farming. But I realized that's not the way to go. The best way to go is to just do eco all the way, and then once you get enough money to farm, switch then. Right here, he defended that rush with Boundary. I was kind of surprised he defended that rush. Because, as you saw, it looked like he leaked a lot. But then I re-rushed him, and then he defended this rush. I think he only lost, what, 1 or 2 lives? Did he lose any lives? Yeah, no, he didn't lose. He didn't lose any lives. So I was kind of surprised, but I don't usually... Before, I would let that, like, shake me. But right now, I'm like, oh, okay. All right, then. So he's doing pretty well in defending. But Patch is... it's not that hard of a map to defend, so it's not... It's pretty good. He's doing really well, you know, for Patch. And at this point, I'm saving up. He has stopped his eco because I think he's saving up for something. He's saving up. I think he's saving up for around 18 Moabs. I don't know where his eco at right now. And plus, he's farming now. I don't know where his eco is right now, but he's probably ahead of me because I did small eco gainers while he was still sending pinks and blacks, and I was sending like greens. So his eco is probably not too far from mine, if not ahead of mine, because he's still sending pinks right now. So and he built up 3 farms, so I'm thinking he's about to use that to save up to sell for a rush. So his eco, I got to my 13 grand, 1300, so I'm now about to build. But his eco probably is a little bit more than mine. His eco's more than mine. My eco isn't that bad. He's sending leads now. Here's one thing I say to all new players: when you have lives on a map like Patch, like if you have lives on a map like Patch or A Game or Battle Park, if somebody picks Battle Park, try not to send big rushes, because that's just a waste of money. You don't need to send big rushes when you have lives. You have lives. There's no need. Like, he wasted probably a good 4 grand sending that rush right there. Like, you don't need to send a big rush when you have lives, because 9 times out of 10 you're not going to kill the person and you just wasted money. Like right now, I think I'm ahead of him in eco. Plain and simple. I think I'm ahead of him in eco. I'm about to get a 4th tier farm on round 23. He could have done the same if he didn't send that big rush. And at this point, I don't even care about lives. Like, when you're down in lives, it doesn't really matter as long as you're not. When you're down in lives on a game like on a map like Patch, it doesn't really matter. As long as you don't die, it really doesn't matter. So he winds up getting a 4th tier farm anyway, because round 23 is the long round. So you can Still get a lot of money because the bananas come out slow on round 23. So I don't think he's that far behind me in eco, but he's doing pretty well in eco. And I'm doing very well in eco. And I won't say that who has the better eco wins it, but I will say that, you know, being ahead of your opponent in eco really does help you with rushing and everything. And he has lives now, so all he has to do is defend. And I'm pretty sure he has chipper. He's a chipper user, so I know he has chipper. So if he were to get enough farms, he'd be able to sell and get some chipper stalls, super vacs. And I think since it's 14 grand, a little over 14 grand now, super vacs cost about. It would take 5 super vacs to stall with the lag. I think this is the key. We put lag on super vacs intentionally to make it less good. But with the lag, you would need like 5. So with that lag, you would need 5, and to get 5, you need a little over 70 grand. He has a little over 70 grand right now because each of those factories costs about 20 grand. Costs a little over 20 grand really. So as you can see, I thought I sold both my jugs, but apparently I sold one. But I sold my jugs, and I got the Spectre, and now I don't have to worry about naturals. And I'm starting to send them some Zoma Gods because I have 4 farms, and that's when I usually start sending Zoma Gods. Like if he were to sell all of his farms and just get 5 super vacs, it would he would be okay. Like most new players want to kill you because it's, you know, that's the point of the game. You're going to defeat your opponent by sending balloons through his defense. But when you have lives, or if you have like a good advantage, it's better just to defend. Like that's really, when you're in King of the Hill, it's better just to defend, because that's what the round 38 rule is there for. If you know you have lives and you have a good advantage, just defend. Don't try to. Him sending them BFBs wasn't the best, and then he sent me a Zoma God. So if he would have just tried to defend, I think he would have won this match. But since he did try to beat me, I think this is why I won. Because he sent me a rush, but when he could have just built up some more super vacs. But GG Julian, and I'll talk to you right now. Hey, how you doing? So Julian, he's new. He's good. He's a bit, I won't say aggressive, but he's not smart with his rushes. I'll say that. He's not really smart with his, like, he sends good rushes, but he doesn't send them at the right place. It's better to send a rush when you're down than to send a rush when you're up. When you're up in lives, I'm talking about lives. When you're up in lives, you should send. You should send on the round you will usually send. If you're down in lives, backwards. If you're down in lives, you should send on the round you usually would send on. If you're up in lives, you should wait for your opponent to send, then re-rush them. Because when your opponent is down in lives, there's a bit more pressure. Especially if you're on a long map like Patch or on a offside, really, because, you know, there are so many strats on offside that people go no lives lost on. But if you're up in lives, let your opponent feel the pressure to rush you. Don't pressure your opponent to rush him. Don't pressure your opponent with rushes. Let him pressure you. Then defend his rush with the money you have saved up, and then re-rush him, because he has depleted his money. Therefore, you can re-rush him. He has little defense. He has little money to build defense. But if you're up in lives, keep that advantage. Like, you're either up in lives. If you're up in lives but down in farms, it kind of balances out. If you're up in farms but down in lives, it balances out. But if you're up in lives and up in farms, then you really should keep that advantage. So that's just in general. I won't say, I'm not going to say that he was up in farms and lives when he played me, or vice versa. But if you have an advantage, make sure you use that advantage to the best of your ability. Like, if you know if you lose lives, like I did on Patch, but you have good farming, just don't care about the lives as long as you don't die, and just keep farming like I did. But if you're up in lives but you're down in farming, just make sure you over defend a little. it's best to make sure you protect your advantage. And whether your advantage be lives or farms or even your strategy, just protect it. And the way to protect your strategy is just do it well. If you have a strategy, you should know how to do it very well. If you wanna, that's why you should always practice. But Julian, like I said, it's better to rush when you're down in lives than when you're up in lives, because being down in lives obviously makes you in a bad position, because if it gets around 38, you'll lose. Being up in lives puts you in a bad position, because when you get around 28, you'll win. So, you should always try to do both, be up in lives and farming, but sometimes against really good players, it's hard to do that. So, take what you can get, Julian. I think that's. Oh, excuse me. I think that's it. So, like I said, good game, Julian, and I hope to play you again. For my viewers, thanks for watching. Come back tomorrow. Come back next week. Come back next year. Come back 25 years from now and watch this video, because this was a good video between two good people. Bye-bye.